Beloved one, come close. What I am about to share with you is not a general message. It is not something written for the masses and scattered into the wind, hoping it lands somewhere. This is specific. This is deliberate. And if you feel something shift in your chest the moment I say these next words, that shifting is your spirit recognizing a truth it already knew, but had not yet been given permission to speak out loud. There is a man who loves you. Not the performative kind of love that shows up when it is convenient and disappears when it costs something. Not the love that is really just longing dressed up in the language of devotion. This is a love that has sat quietly in a room by itself and survived. A love that did not need your attention to keep breathing. A love that has watched you from a careful distance and chosen you again, privately, repeatedly, without asking for anything in return. And the angels brought this to me because there is something attached to this love that heaven needs you to understand. Because this man, this love, this real and weighty thing that exists between you and him, it carries one problem, one single obstruction. And that problem is not what you think it is. Welcome to Heaven Speaks to You. This channel exists for moments exactly like this one, when the spiritual realm has something too important to leave unsaid and too delicate to be delivered any other way except directly, soul to soul. If you have been guided here today, subscribe now. You are meant to receive what God is releasing through this ministry, not just today, but in every season ahead. Now let your breathing slow. Let the noise of the day fall back, because what follows requires your full spirit, not just your ears. He loves you with a love that has inconvenienced him. That is the first thing the angels want you to understand, because convenient love is not the kind of love that means anything. Convenient love shows up when the timing is easy, when the cost is low, when the distance between wanting and having is short enough to step across without effort. But this man has loved you when it was complicated. He has loved you when silence would have been simpler. He has loved you when walking away would have been the easier choice. And he chose not to walk away, not because he was weak, but because something in him that is older than his own understanding would not allow it. Scripture says, "Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." 1 Corinthians 13:7. Beloved one, he has been bearing, he has been believing, not loudly, not in the way that demands to be seen and applauded, in the quiet, unglamorous, deeply human way that real love actually operates when no one is watching. And you may have sensed it. You may have felt it in the particular way he looks at you, a fraction of a second longer than necessary, in the way he remembers the small things you said once and assumed he had forgotten, in the way his energy changes when you enter a room, not dramatically, but noticeably, in the way a room changes when a window is finally opened and fresh air comes through. You felt it, and perhaps you questioned yourself. Perhaps you told yourself you were reading too much into it. Perhaps you did what people who have been disappointed before always do. You talked yourself out of what your spirit already knew. Your spirit was not wrong. Leave a comment below right now and write, "I receive what is true." Write it as a declaration over your own life, because too many people in this season are dismissing real things because past pain taught them that trusting what they feel leads to hurt. But discernment is not the same as hope. Discernment is the ability to perceive what is actually there, and what is actually there between you and this man is real. Now, the problem.
because that is why the angels brought this message, not merely to confirm what your heart suspected, but to name the one thing standing between this love and its fullness. And beloved one, the problem is not another person. It is not that he does not want you. It is not that the feeling is one-sided or that heaven has closed the door on this connection. The problem is far more interior than any of those things. This man does not fully believe he is enough for you. Let that land. Let it move through you slowly, because the implications of it are enormous, and the angels want you to feel the weight of this before they walk you through what it means. He sees you. He sees what you carry. He sees your strength, the particular kind that is not loud or aggressive, but quietly unshakable. The kind that has survived things that would have fractured someone with less foundation. He sees your depth, the way you think about things at a level that most people never reach, the way ordinary moments land differently in you because you are not a surface-level person, and you have never been able to pretend otherwise. He sees your tenderness, which is perhaps the thing that undoes him most, because tender people who are also strong are rare, and he is aware in the part of himself that is most honest that he has not yet encountered anyone quite like you. And that awareness is precisely what frightens him.
Because standing before something genuinely beautiful, genuinely rare, genuinely worth protecting, produces a very specific kind of fear in a person who has not yet made peace with their own worth. It is not the fear of losing. It is the fear of being the reason something precious gets broken. He is afraid that he will disappoint you. He is afraid that the version of himself that you would eventually encounter up close, the unpolished version, the version with the wounds still healing, and the habits still being broken, and the questions still unanswered, he is afraid that version will not hold up next to what you deserve. He loves you and he doubts himself. Both things are true at the same time. Scripture says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." 2 Timothy 1:7. The fear he is carrying is not from God. The love he is carrying is. And right now, in this season, the fear is speaking louder than the love, not because the love is weak, but because the fear is old. It has been there longer. It has deeper roots. It has been confirmed by things that happened before you ever arrived in his life, wounds that were never fully addressed, moments where he extended himself and was not received well, places where he tried and it still was not enough. He brought those experiences into the present, and he is unconsciously measuring himself against them instead of allowing who he is now to stand on its own. Like this video if what you are hearing is beginning to make sense of something you have been unable to articulate. Your engagement tells heaven that this message found the right heart. Beloved one, here is what heaven also sees that he cannot see from where he is standing. His love for you has already made him better. The mere presence of a feeling this size for a person this specific has been doing something in him underneath the surface. He has been quieter in his choices, more deliberate, more honest with himself in the private moments when no one is requiring him to perform or produce. He has been sitting with questions about who he wants to be, not in the abstract, but in the concrete, because loving you has made the abstract concrete. It has given his becoming a direction. He is not stagnant, he is moving. And the movement is toward something he believes On his best days, you represent. Not you as a destination, you as a kind of mirror, one that shows him the version of himself that is possible, the version he has not yet fully inhabited, but can feel the outline of when he is most honest. That is not a small thing. That is the beginning of real transformation. Comment below and write, "God is working in what I cannot see." Because what is happening in him is happening in the unseen. You cannot observe it directly. You can only trust that the God who does not waste love, the God who does not allow genuine love to be stirred in a human heart without purpose, is doing something with this that neither of you fully understands yet. Now, there is something the angels need to say to you directly, not about him, about you. Your role in this season is not to fix his doubt. It is not to work harder to prove to him that he is enough. It is not to make yourself smaller so that the distance between who you are and who he fears he is feels less threatening. Every version of you that you have diminished in order to make someone else more comfortable has cost you something you have not yet fully tallied. And heaven is asking you not to do that here, because here is the sacred truth. A man who loves you the way this man loves you is not looking for a lesser version of you to feel more confident beside. He is being invited by God into the growth it takes to stand beside the fullest version of you without flinching. That growth is his work, his assignment, his conversation with God. And if you interrupt it by shrinking, you rob him of the very process that would make him ready. You rob yourself of the partnership you have been praying for. And you rob the relationship of the foundation it needs to hold the weight of a real future. Scripture says iron sharpens iron, and one person sharpens another. Proverbs 27:17. You are not meant to be softer so he feels sharper. You are both meant to be sharpened. That only happens when both people show up as they actually are. So remain yourself, beloved one, completely, not as a test of him, not as a strategy, but as an act of faithfulness to who God made you to be. Your fullness is not an obstacle to this love. It is the invitation for this love to become everything it is supposed to be. Subscribe to Angel Messages for You if this channel has become a place where truth finds you in a language your spirit understands. Every message here is sent with that intention, to reach the heart that needs it at the exact moment it needs it most. Beloved one, let us talk about what you are meant to do in the waiting. Because there is a waiting here. Not the passive, powerless waiting of someone who has no agency. The active, fruitful, deeply purposeful waiting of someone who trusts that timing is not delay, but preparation. In this season, you are not waiting for him to decide whether you are worth loving. That has already been decided. You are waiting for the fullness of what is being assembled in him, in you, in the space between you, to reach the moment where it can be held by both of your hands without dropping. And that moment is coming, but it cannot be forced, and it cannot be rushed without consequence. What you can do is tend to your own becoming with the same devotion that you hope to one day receive from him. Pour back into yourself what uncertainty has tried to drain. Revisit the dreams that got quieter when disappointment got louder. Return to the version of yourself that existed before you learned to brace for loss before it arrived. Because that version of you is not naive. She is whole. And wholeness is what this love requires from both sides. He is doing his part, even when it does not look like it from the outside. The internal work is always invisible until it is not. Until one day the person who was afraid walks through the door that fear told them was too heavy, and they are standing there, changed, present, ready, in a way that could not have been manufactured or performed. That day is part of your story. Heaven has seen it. Comment below and write, "I am whole while I wait." Say it to yourself as many times as you need to until your body believes it as completely as your spirit already does. There are those who will read this and wonder whether patience means permission to stay in something that is not moving. And the angels want to address that honestly, because this message is about truth, and truth does not flatter. Waiting in love is not the same as waiting in hope alone. Hope without evidence is a prayer. But hope with the consistent evidence of a man who shows up in the small ways, who does not disappear when proximity gets uncomfortable, who is visibly, genuinely trying to become more than he was last season, that hope has a foundation. And foundation is what separates a season of waiting from a lifetime of settling. Examine the evidence, not the grand gestures. Those are easy to manufacture and easy to misread. Look at the consistent, unglamorous evidence. Does he protect your dignity when he could have dismissed it? Does he tell the truth even when a comfortable lie would have served him better? Does he take responsibility for his impact on you, even imperfectly, even clumsily, even when he does not fully understand what he did? These things matter more than declarations. Character is always lived in the details. Scripture says, "You will know them by their fruit," Matthew 7:16. Not by their words, not by their intentions, by their fruit, by what actually grows in the soil of who they are over time. Look at the fruit. And for those who feel led to support this ministry as it continues to carry these words to the hearts that are navigating love, confusion, faith, and the sacred tension between what is and what is coming, your super thanks is a seed sown into something that is bearing fruit in lives you will never see, but that heaven sees clearly. Beloved one, here is how this message ends. Not with a resolution, because real love is not a resolution. It is an ongoing act of choosing. It is waking up in the new morning of a relationship and choosing again. It ends with a commissioning. You are commissioned to love yourself with the same grace you have been extending to this man's process. You are commissioned to hold space for what is becoming without abandoning what already is. You are commissioned to refuse the narrative that love this complicated must not be real. Because the most real things are almost always the most complicated. Not because love is supposed to be painful, but because anything worth having requires the courage to remain present through the uncertainty of its unfolding. He loves you. The problem between you is not insurmountable. It is not a character flaw that cannot change. It is not a fundamental incompatibility dressed up as a circumstance. It is fear meeting love. in the long, slow process that God uses to make people ready for the lives they are called to live. Fear yields to love when love is patient. Not passive, patient. There is a difference. Passive love watches and hopes and does nothing with itself. Patient love continues becoming, continues growing, continues trusting, continues showing up as the fullest version of what it is, and in doing so, creates an environment where the other person's fear has less room to breathe and more reason to surrender. Be the patient love, beloved one, not because you owe it to him, because it is who you actually are when you are not afraid. Stay grounded, stay faithful, stay whole. The angels are not leaving this situation unattended, and neither is God. This message is still unfolding in the places inside you that needed it most. Let it settle. Let it do its work. And when the moment comes, and it is coming, you will be ready. Not because you waited perfectly, because you trusted faithfully. Heaven has spoken. Now walk in